Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto x Rias x Akeno x Kuroka? The short movie. Huge shout out to BlackSpirit 101 for this story. If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Kyoto. A peaceful place in Japan where everyone you meet will almost end up as your friend. But not with a group of people who are giving chase to a stray demon. Meet Rias and her peerage. The Gremry peerage. A group of strong fighters that Rias considered family. But even with powerful hitters in her corner, things were not looking good. If only she had speed on her side, then things would be better. But just when they were about to even give up the chase, a powerful surge of energy was soon felt from nowhere, together with the sounds of a katana being sheathed. Once the click was heard, the stray demon's one leg slid off, with the demon dropping to the floor and howling in pain. Stopping in her tracks, she looked to the rooftops and spotted a man in a full black get-up, together with a symbol emblazoned on the one side. A katana in the one hand that had a full red blade, and a rifle in the other. His hair was a mix of red and black, with two horns on his head and a white mask covering his eyes, as well as a tattoo of an eye and a pyramid resting on his right hand, which blinked a few times. Everyone stood in shock as the man dropped from the rooftops and, ever so silently, made his way to the downed demon. Pointing the rifle at the demon, he gave a small prayer before firing the rifle like blunderbuss 7 times. Which seemed like overkill if you asked me. With the deed done, the man turned to those gathered as the rifle turned into a scabbard, with the katana being sheathed into the now scabbard. Giving them a mocking bow, he left through the shadows, with Rias clenching her teeth. Akeno, one of Rias' pieces, placed a hand on Rias' shoulder as she tried to ease the anger in Rias. "Damn him. That was our kill," said Rias. "Let's just be grateful for his help. If things had gotten any worse, then we'd be in shit," said Akeno. "Mark my words, Crimson Hunter. I will uncover your identity and expose you to all demonkind," snarled Rias as they called it in for the night with the Crimson Hunter. With the job finally completed, the man pulled the mask off as his features returned to normal, including his clothing turning back to normal and the tattoo's eye closing. His hair revealing itself to be a beautiful blonde instead of a fiery red, while the horns shrunk back into his head. Walking around inside his home, he stopped at a picture that showed his parents. Placing his hand on the image, he sighed as he looked at the tattoo. "Not long now, mother, father. Just a few more souls and then you can pass on," he said as the air soon got cold all of a sudden with him seeing his breath. "Mind telling me why you come to me?" said the man, only to have a man in a white business suit show up, sitting at the dining room chair, his hair slicked back while he held a cup of coffee in his hands. "Now that's not the proper way to talk to the one who gave you the means to fight," he said, with the man spinning on his heels. "I never asked for this, Kurama. I never asked to become a Crimson Hunter. You made me a Crimson Hunter because you felt like it," barked the man, only to have the man now named Kurama to laugh really hard. "I saw my opportunity and took it. Now you know how business works. You do everything in your power to work your way up the ladder," said Kurama, only to have the man grab him by the throat and lift him up. "Yeah, sure. Killing demons for well over 1,400 years is a great task. I only took on this job to have my family saved and sent to heaven. Now I'm thinking that it was a bad idea," barked the man, only to find himself slammed against the wall with Kurama glowering daggers at him. "Listen. And listen well, Naruto. Who was it that saved you from that dreadful witch hunt all those years ago? Who was it that offered to spare your parents from the fires of hell and keep them in limbo? Who was it that gave you this power to enact a reason to keep true to the goal we made?" snapped Kurama as the tattoo on the man now named Naruto's hand burned. "It was you," submitted Naruto. "Yes. It was me. Now straighten up and do it properly. And should this happen again, I'll go back on our deal and drag your soul and your parents' souls into hell for all eternity," said Kurama as he vanished, with the tattoo on Naruto's hand ceasing all glow. The next day, Rias and Akeno were seen walking into the high school they attended. The gazes of lust from the boys got them rather upset. They only seemed to be after their bodies and bragged to their friends that they were dating such a supermodel girlfriend. But Rias didn't like that. To her, only one man could be with her. One man had stolen away her heart. And his name was Naruto Uzumaki. A boy she knew absolutely nothing about. Yes, she was a devil. Yes, she was part of the top house in hell. But there was something about him that gained her curiosity. It was like he never existed until recently. What was going on? As the sister of the current Satan, she should know a lot about the boy on her mind. But why didn't she know anything? It was like something was blocking her from knowing. Or someone for that matter. Entering the building, she walked up the stairs where she entered the classroom she and Akeno used, and lo and behold, Naruto was in the classroom. But he was fast asleep. His head buried into his folded arms while his earphones were seen in his ears as he silently slept. Walking over to him, she tapped his shoulder. The sleeping teen woke up with tired eyes. Gazing upon the red-haired goddess known as Rias Germari. "Good morning, Naruto," she said with a smile on her face. "Morning," mumbled Naruto as he placed his head back into his folded arms. Throughout the day, Naruto showed signs of fatigue. His body groggily moved about as he went about his day. But when school did end, Naruto was gone. It was like he vanished into thin air. The door to his house opened and Naruto moved into the front door. He instantly smelt the wondrous scent of food flood his nose as he closed the door, and finding a pair of wooden sandals by the door. Moving to the source of the scent, he found a certain black-haired girlfriend in the kitchen making some stew. A black kimono hung loosely on her body and pulled off her shoulders, giving the person a pleasant look at her cleavage as she hummed to herself while stirring the pot on the stove. Moving to her, Naruto threw his arms around her wondrous waist as a set of hidden black cat ears appeared on her head as she gasped in surprise but welcomed the feeling. "Hello, my love," she purred as she leaned into his embrace. "A very nice hello with you around, Kuroka," purred Naruto, tightening his grip on her while he gave a kiss to her neck. Kuroka loved her boyfriend with all her heart. She couldn't believe that she was in a relationship with someone way older than her. Her real age was only close to a century, but Naruto had seen more than 14 centuries. She came whenever she could, stating that she was working, but she'd always return to him whenever she could. She knew of Naruto's real power being that of the contract he signed to keep his parents' souls in limbo. She felt sorry for him, but this was his choice. She respected that. After a few minutes, they enjoyed the food while Naruto went to take a shower. As Kuroka listened to the water to the shower run, she cleaned the dishes. She had no issue with playing the role of housewife, and with the love she had for him, she was hoping this would be the case in the future. She could see it now. Him coming home after a long day, her welcoming him home as they spent a few hours playing with their children. Oh, the idea was music to her ears. Setting the final plate into the drying rack, she leaned against the counter of the kitchen. Tonight she'd be going away for some time. But she couldn't bring herself to say goodbye to the one she wanted and needed. She then had a great idea. How about some goodbye sex? But it would have to be the best sex he and her had ever had in their lives. Thinking that was the right course of action, she undid her kimono and headed up the stairs, a sway in her hips as she made her way to Naruto's bedroom. Finally getting there, she laid herself on the bed and made herself look as sexy as possible. After a few minutes, the door to the bathroom opened to reveal Naruto standing there in nothing but a towel wrapped around his lower body. Gazing to the bed, he spotted his naked girlfriend who was licking her lips. "Care to join me?" she purred, patting the side of the bed. "May as well," said Naruto, throwing the towel off and making his way to the bed and laying on top of her. The two shared a kiss as they began to explore each other's bodies. "I love you, Kuroka," said Naruto as Kuroka ran her fingers across her boyfriend's chest. "I love you too, Naruto," she purred as they resumed their kiss. For well over the night, the two enjoyed the pleasures of the body, feeling each other against one another. Sweat and various juices landed on the bed as the two made love to one another. It was only until 2 in the morning that they finished having sex. Kuroka was still passed out while Naruto ran his fingers over her skin, her purring as he gave her forehead a kiss. "I love you, my kitty," he said to her. Looking to the tattoo on his hand, he gritted his teeth as he glowered at what he had been through. Closing his eyes, he went to sleep as Kuroka snuggled further into him, her body now perched on him while his member lay against her inner thigh, a small moan escaping her lips from the feeling. Dream. Naruto could see himself sitting at a table with his mother and father. His father, a well-built man with blonde hair much like his, while his mother smiled to him. She was extremely beautiful and curvaceous beyond imagine, her long scarlet red hair flowing behind her as his purple eyes gazed upon her son. Naruto was at the tender age of 7. "But mommy, daddy, what am I?" asked Naruto to his mother and father. "You are special. You are beyond anything this world has ever experienced. Remember, no matter what, you will always be our son," smiled the woman as she placed a hand on Naruto's head. Smiling to her, Naruto gave a very toothy grin. But then the dream distorted and shifted to have his father hanging dead by a noose and his mother burning at the stake. Dream end, snapping his eyes awake as he panted hard, sweat beating down his body as he looked at the wall in front of him. Looking at the time, he found it was already midday on the dot. Taking a few minutes to calm himself down, Naruto took notice that Kuroka was nowhere to be found. Instead, by the bedside table, rested a sealed letter. Opening it, he read it. What was written down went as such: "My sweet Naruto, I am really sorry, but I have some work to attend to. I didn't want to do this to you when I just got back. Please, can you forgive me? I promise that when I get back, I will make it up to you. I love you, Kuroka. That's my kitty. Always working," said Naruto as he looked out the window. "I miss you already." But as he thought about what he was going to do, he soon felt an unholy surge of power flow through his body. His body felt extremely hot, like he was thrown into a furnace. What was this? But after a few surges of power, Naruto felt his body return to normal. It was as if it was never there. What was that? What was that strange feeling? Not only that, but the tattoo on his hand glowed a strange red before dying out. Getting out the bed, he decided to get on with his day and leave out any trivial bullshit. Today was Saturday, and no doubt, Kurama would want him to take down another stray demon. It was like he was Hell's envoy. Oh wait, he was Hell's envoy. Walking through the streets of Kyoto, Naruto felt a very strange feeling welling within him. It was like something was trying to break free. But what? What was trying to break free? It felt strange, but familiar at the same time. As he walked along the streets, he soon felt the familiar presence of Kurama. Walking into an alley, he came to a stop. And instantly, Kurama appeared to him in a vortex of fire. Let me guess. Another stray demon, guessed Naruto with Kurama nodding. Correct. A stray demon has been found. I want you to go and hunt it down. This one is stronger than the others you fought, so be careful. It will be here tonight, said Kurama, vanishing from view. Walking back out to the streets, Naruto felt the tattoo activate. But it was flashing red as if something were wrong. Shielding the glowing tattoo by shoving his hands in his pocket, he moved through the crowd of people. The tattoo never acted like this. Something must be causing a massive amount of disturbance. Whatever it was, it had to do with him and that sudden surge of power. They had to be connected. Choosing to kill some time, Naruto moved through the city, admiring the attractions, playing a bit in the arcade, and having some food to eat. When night did roll around, the streets were silent, as if the entire city turned into a ghost town with the sun no longer there. It was perfect, no casualties. Sensing the stray demon not far away, Naruto brought his hand up to his chest with the eye on the tattoo opening. Crimson Hunter, stated Naruto, and instantly, his Crimson Hunter form shifted onto him. Sliding the mask onto his face, he held out his hand and in a volley of rose petals, his weapon appeared before him. Time to go to work, said Naruto, and just like that, he shot into the sky and landed on a roof. He could feel the stray's power. It was strong, but he could handle it. But as he moved along the rooftops, he sensed another source of power. And it was this power he knew of. Rias and her peerage were back. The chase was on. Naturally, Naruto got there first. Jumping down to where he sensed the demon, he found it was at a warehouse. Gripping the sword at his side, he walked to the warehouse doors. But as he got close to the doors, he stopped in his tracks when a voice called out to him. Step away from the door. That demon is ours, called Rias in a snarl. Just standing there, his hand outstretched to open the door, Naruto slowly turned his head. If it isn't Rias herself. A pleasure to meet like this again, said Naruto. The Gremory peerage has this demon. We sensed it first. Don't you know that this is our territory? Barked Rias. I don't see your name on this warehouse, retorted Naruto, making a grab for the handle, but was stopped when Kiba cut off his path and had a sword aimed at him. Impressive. Final warning. Leave now, hissed Rias. Naruto merely gripped the sword in his hand. Feeling the trigger right by his finger, he squeezed it, and the katana was shot out of its sheath at hypersonic speeds. Kiba didn't even register the incoming threat and took a katana hilt to the face. He stumbled backwards but was soon punched in the side and sent to the left of Naruto, who grabbed the katana and turned to Rias' peerage. Next, and the fight was on. Naruto sped through them like it was nothing, effortlessly shrugging off attacks with his katana or the sheath that turned into the rifle blunderbuss. Shots rung through the air and the clashing of steel sounded among the attacks. Even Akeno's lightning attacks proved to do little to stem the fight in their favor. The Crimson Hunter was just too fast and too powerful for them to handle. Kiba was down for the count after a series of quick strikes to his ribs from Naruto. Akeno had nothing left in her as her magic was spent. All that remained was Naruto and Rias, her hands smoking as she panted from the fatigue along with her magic now dwindling to almost nothing. However, her opponent seemed to have the same situation as her, his katana hanging slack in his hand as he no longer held the gun as a gun but more like its sheath. But something felt wrong with Naruto. His body had been feeling extremely hot, as if he was now living on the sun. What exactly was this feeling? And just as he was about to give a finishing strike, his right arm burst into flames, the katana falling out his hands with a loud metal clang as both looked on at the burning arm. Rias was amazed at this. She knew that flames usually come in either red or blue, but these flames were white hot. She could feel its intensity from where she was. But for Naruto, he was scared shitless. He never had this before. All his powers he learned from Kurama. This was never there. This was not one of those powers he had as a Crimson Hunter. It's hot. What is this? Said Rias in awe at the intensity of the flames. It's not going out. Panicked Naruto as he flayed his arm about, trying to put out the flames. Rias soon found her opening. A means to stop this fight here and now. Moving around him while he kept his focus on the burning arm, she got ready to strike. Gathering the last bit of her magic, she lunged forward and attacked. But Naruto caught this at the last second and instantly vanished in a burst of white flames. Rias stood where her opponent was, amazed that he reacted so fast to her attack. But she looked up and found him dropping to the ground, his fist raised up and ready to strike. The name of the attack suddenly entered Naruto's mind as he slammed his fist into the ground. Fafnir's shockwave, he cried, and instantly, a powerful tidal wave of white flames swept across the area. Rias was hit by the flames and was sent into a wall, her back hitting the wall and her dropping to the floor. Her eyes hazy as she looked at the Crimson Hunter. Instantly, Naruto vanished from the scene. The stray got away as well. Picking herself up on pained legs, she looked about at her peerage. As she helped up each of her comrades, her mind stayed glued to what she witnessed. Those flames. She never saw them before. From their intensity to their power, it was not of this world. Thinking on what the flames were, she realized that the records in her home would hold the answers. They had to hold at least a small grasp of what those white flames were, or at least a piece of its origin. Hopefully, with Naruto reappearing in a vortex of white flames, Naruto huffed and puffed as he tried to calm himself at what he did and saw. It all went too fast. First he was fighting against Rias and her peerage, the next his entire right arm catches fire. What was that power? What was he? He remembered his mother and father saying something about his power being like this. But what was this? His Crimson Hunter form vanishing off his body and his features returning to normal once again. Taking a few deep breaths to calm himself, he moved to the bathroom, filling up the bath just in case. Just a means to put out the fire should it go out of control. He got ready. Once the bath was filled, he held out his arm. But just as he was about to try and call up his power, Kurama came into view. Where is the soul? Barked Kurama. Didn't kill it. Something interfered, said Naruto, only to be slammed against the wall by Kurama. You're a Crimson Hunter. Interferences are dealt with the way you kill a stray. You have proven to be the nuisance ever since you decided to rebel against me for a bit. The next time you fail a mission, you will have this contract revoked, and your parents' souls pulled into hell. Snarled Kurama as he dropped Naruto and vanished. Beep, was all Naruto said as he went back to what he was about to do. Holding out his hand, he began to concentrate. It didn't take long for his body to suddenly feel hot. And just when it felt hot, he called out some random words. Fire, he called. Nothing happened. Maybe it is a different word. Flame on, said Naruto again, and once again. Nothing happened. For well over 30 minutes, Naruto used words that was related to fire. Every single word he thought of, he used, but nothing seemed to work. Growing frustrated with it not working, Naruto growled, "Why won't you work? Funking useless thing." He hissed, but then he thought of one thing he hasn't tried yet. Taking a breath to calm himself, he focused once more. "Dragon Soul," he called out, and instantly, just like a candle being lit, the white flames obeyed him and burst to life, covering his entire arm in flames as the white embers lapped against his arm. He marveled at the power of the flames. They were strong, powerful, and seemed to be resilient in every way he could imagine. Concentrating, Naruto focused all attention and the flames soon died out. This was amazing. He never thought he was this powerful. Well, he knew he was powerful, but to be on this level, he had to learn as much as he could. To harness this new power to the best he could. Hopefully he could try and use this power to try and break out of this infernal curse he was placed under. He no longer wanted to be a Crimson Hunter. He wanted something more. All his life he just wanted to live. To live his own life as he saw fit. But with Kurama controlling him with an iron grip, things seemed so compact. Closed up. He had a life, but only when Kuroka was around. Oh, how he missed her. Hopefully he could break out of this situation. Hopefully. A new day will always bring in a new challenge. And for Rias, her challenge was shown very clearly to her. Taking a few days off school, she begins her research on those white flames she saw. She searched through all the books she asked her brother for. He sent them to her no problem. And she went through all of them. Out of the 34 books sent to her, 33 of them had nothing explaining the white flames, just some bullshit about ancient ruins she wasn't interested in. She was left frustrated and exhausted as to how nothing relating to those white flames showed up. She hated it. Why was there nothing explaining the flames? But it was only on the last book did a piece of the puzzle be revealed to her. It wasn't much, but it was still a start. According to what was written down, the white flames were the flames of creation itself. The very fires that breathed all things into existence. A dragon that was said to have been from the beginning of time had command over these flames. The dragon also in question was no ordinary dragon. Not a dragon emperor, but a primordial dragon. One so old it predates the dragon emperors entirely by a whole 700 years before the Dragaean emperors came into existence. That answered a small portion of her question. No wonder the flames held such intensity. She still had so many questions left to be answered. Unfortunately, there was nothing else left. But she wasn't all done with her investigation. There was still the fact with that Crimson Hunter she fought. According to her brother, the Crimson Hunters were once a powerful splinter cell group that specialized in taking down stray demons and dragging them back to Hell. But Hell was no longer part of the underworld. In fact, Hell was removed entirely. So for a Crimson Hunter to be here meant that someone was starting something. And it didn't look good. As well, from what her brother said to her, that the Crimson Hunters were hunted down for having their tendencies for going on a rampage from time to time thanks to their masters having power struggles between each other. Once all Crimson Hunters and their masters were killed off, the Crimson Hunter program was disbanded entirely. All records about that program was destroyed soon after the program was terminated. She still felt uneasy about it. She had been at this for well over 3 days. Sighing as she got up from her desk, she grabbed her stuff and headed to school. Meeting up with Akeno, the two walked to school. But when they arrived at their class, they found Naruto to be nowhere to be found. He wasn't here for the past 3 days either, said Akeno softly to Rias. I hope he's okay, said Rias with a sigh at how the man she was crushing on was gone. With Naruto, it had been 3 days since Naruto had begun his training. He had to learn how to use this power. The white flames. He didn't know anything other than it was extremely powerful. He was currently standing at a secluded area on the outskirts of the city. A few targets set up for some target practice. His arm blazing with fire as he huffed and puffed. Sweat beating down his brow as he trained his eyes on a rock a few meters away from him. Bringing up his hand, he opened the palm and called out, "Dragon Strike!" He yelled out. A white-hot fireball shot out from his hand and sped to the rock, resulting it to explode. Rubble went everywhere as Naruto relaxed his arm and dismissed the burning arm to leave it as a regular arm. Breathing in some air, he breathed out in a scream, similar to a dragon's roar. And much like that, he spoke out just as he was about to scream. "Dragon," he said, inhaling and arching his back. "Roar, roar!" And just like that, Out from his mouth emerged a stream of white flames. The flames sped to a nearby tree and the tree was incinerated in the blink of an eye. All that was left was a few burning twigs. This power was truly amazing. With the arm active, he could use the flame at close range or long range through fireballs. Having it active or not was the option that presented itself when he used Dragon Roar. The ability he did a couple nights back, Fafnir's Shockwave, was probably his best power attack when enemies surrounded him. Grabbing his juice bottle that was laying not far from him, he drank it. Then he picked up his towel and wiped the sweat off his face. I think that calls it for today, he said to himself as he turned from the place he just wrecked to hell. Walking the streets, he followed the crowd for a bit before turning down a road and walking into a residential area, his house resting on his right. Finally making it to the door, he opened it and walked inside. Imagine his surprise when Kuroka was seen on the couch, her body laying on the couch as she slept soundly, using the armrest as a pillow. Smiling at this, Naruto slowly crept over to his sleeping girlfriend. Running a hand over her slender shoulder, he was earned with a purr from her succulent lips. Slowly, her eyes opened. Hazel eyes gazed upon azure blue. Oh, how she loved those eyes of his. Good morning, Naruto. She yawned as she stretched while sitting up on the couch. More like good afternoon, chuckled Naruto as he sat on the couch with Kuroka leaning against her boyfriend. Sorry I couldn't be here for some time, she said only to purr when Naruto stroked her cat ear. I am not mad, but I have something to show you, said Naruto getting up from the couch. What? Queried Kuroka arching an eyebrow. Dragon Soul, called out Naruto. Kuroka sat in awe as she watched his right arm burst into flames. White embers licked his arm as she marveled at the pure fire before her. Another note she took down was how hot it was. It was like the sun was before her. Such power. Inwardly she was licking her lips. When did you know you had this power? She asked him with Naruto deactivating his burning arm. A couple nights back. I still don't know what this means, was all Naruto said sitting back down. You're powerful, she said leaning against him again. I know, said Naruto arrogantly. The two stayed like this for a few minutes, enjoying each other's company. But for Kuroka, she was thinking something different. She knew she was among the last of her species. She had been looking for a powerful mate to have, and to repopulate her species. She loved Naruto for his charm and his power, and she wanted him to bring back her species. And for him to show her something she had never seen before was something that pushed her over the edge. Now she very much wanted his babies. Right now, settling her mind, she removed herself from him and stood up. Kuroka? Asked Naruto looking to his girlfriend. Kuroka soon fell off Naruto, panting as she slouched into the couch, her chest heaving as she licked her lips. That was amazing, said Kuroka with a sigh of content. Sure was, said Naruto throwing an arm around her. I so want your child now, was all Kuroka said as she fell asleep. I see, was all Naruto said as he picked her up and took her to his room. Laying her under the sheets and then snuggling in as well, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. He really hoped he could master this new power. Little did he know was that a certain red-haired devil was hot on the trail as well. A brand new morning spilt into the room of Naruto, his eyes scrunching tight as he turned over. But sadly, the sun already ruined his rest. Opening his eyes, he found Kuroka once again nowhere to be found. This certainly was odd. Normally she'd leave a note explaining where she had run off to. Must have been something urgent. But if that much was true, she'd still leave a note. Thinking not much on it, Naruto got out the bed and went to the bathroom. Running the water, he looked to the tattoo on his right hand. It very much left him with a bad taste in his mouth. How he despised Kurama for this. But there was still a light at the end of this dark tunnel. Just a few more souls and then his parents would finally be able to no longer suffer. That was his only goal. That and to also be there for Kuroka. But when he looked in the mirror, he found something that wasn't there before. A set of what looked like tribal lines ran from his right pec to the elbow of his right arm. What was this? But when he felt his power surge forth, he watched the tribal tattoo glow white for a bit then die down. Putting it together, he figured that the new power he had was somehow connected to the tattoo. It had to be. That was the only description he could think of. Once he was cleaned and had some clothes on, he found Kurama sitting at the dining room table, his fingers drumming on the table as he stared at the Crimson Hunter. Let me guess, A mission? Snapped Naruto. Correct. This is your chance to redeem yourself. That stray that got away has been sighted not far off from here, said Kurama as he got up and vanished. Great. Another funking mission, said Naruto in a cold sigh as he got ready. The entire day dragged on like you couldn't believe. Rias herself had to find the Crimson Hunter. She had to. She knew he only showed up at night, so waiting for the day to end was unbelievable. But this time, instead of trying to kill the Crimson Hunter, she wanted to talk to him. Just to try and understand that power. Akeno was informed of this as well. She was the only one of her entire peerage who would accompany her. You sure it's a good idea to go and talk to the Crimson Hunter? Asked Akeno, snapping Rias out of her thoughts. I do. I think we may be able to help him understand his powers, said Rias as she looked to her friend and Queen Peace. Very well. I will ensure nothing disrupts your talk, said Akeno with Rias smiling. Thank you, stated Rias. When night did finally roll around, they couldn't be more happier. Now they'd be able to talk to the Crimson Hunter. Rias already had a lock on where he was. Racing along the dead streets, she came to the site of the one she was looking for. The Crimson Hunter, a stray demon laying dead at his feet as the katana he had laid bloodied in his hand. Swinging the katana, removing the blood, he turned to the two before him getting ready to strike. Rias threw up her hands. Please don't. She surrendered. Why? Asked Naruto. I just want to talk, was all Rias said. Thinking it over, Naruto felt that it was the least he could do. What was the worst that could happen? Seeing him cease hostility, Rias cleared her throat. Those white flames from last night. I know what they are, she stated. So what? Asked Naruto. They belong to a primordial dragon, one that was said to have brought all things into existence, said Rias. Flames are just flames, was all Naruto said before a thunderous chuckle was heard around them. Instantly a powerful force pushed them down to the ground. All three struggled to their feet, the thunderous chuckle growing to become full-blown laughter. Rias and Akeno found the Crimson Hunter to be struggling to stand, and was already at a kneeling position, while gravity still pushed him down. She's right, my dear Crimson Hunter, boomed Kurama's voice. Your power is incredible. That was why I couldn't have you try anything. What are you getting at? Barked Naruto. You are no ordinary person, Naruto. You are in fact more than that, said Kurama, coming into existence. Wait. Naruto? Said Rias in a shocked tone. You are in fact the infernal child of that dragon. You may even go so far as to call yourself a god, said Kurama as he stood perched on the dead stray demon. And I'll be taking that. Instantly the Crimson Hunter form on Naruto was pulled right off, leaving him in baggy black pants, a white tank top and a flak jacket. Rias and Akeno's eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. The man they both admired and loved as the Crimson Hunter all along? This made zero sense at all. But how, bastard? Growled Naruto. Because your father turned his back on me. I was once a follower of his power, seeking him out and wanting to gain his attention. But he couldn't care less of me, Kurama Yoko. Growled Kurama. Kurama Yoko? Queried Rias, looking at the scene. I did what had to be done. Your father, and whore of a mother, both living such peaceful lives while everyone around you suffered. You being born made it even more worse. Child of calamity. All I wanted was for my people to be healthy. But your father would not even lift a finger. When I died and entered hell, I was given access to a whole lot of possibilities. I approached your father and told him that your mother wanted some wild roses only found in the human world. It worked, and the trap was set. From there, I went to your mother and told her that he had been captured and taken to the human world to be killed. She went to find him with you in tow. With two gods and their infernal offspring now on the plains of the human world, I made my move. The people inhabiting the world were so simple-minded. I told them a witch had come to kill them. They flipped and went in to kill you. Too bad that when a god goes to the human world, they need to create a human body in order to do so. Not only that, but their powers were restricted so much they could be witches and such. A basic rule of all gods, including primordials. Thanks to my efforts, your parents were removed from the picture. But when I went back to hell, things got more heavy. Hell was cut off from the rest of the underworld by a few peace-loving demons. Nothing remained. When I saw you, I finally found my card to play. The perfect Crimson Hunter. Cackled Kurama, releasing the power he was giving off, allowing them to move. You bastard! Growled Naruto. Why do this? For what? Money? Never was even my desire. It was revenge. Revenge for those who deemed hell too volatile of a place. They deserve to die. The underworld will be destroyed. And a new hell built from the ashes. Kill, destroy, steal. Shall be the new norm. As hell should always be as. Said Kurama, you will never accomplish that. No single person can defeat the whole of the underworld. Retorted Rias, who said I was alone. Barked Kurama. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. He grit his teeth as he glared at Kurama. The stray demons. Said Naruto, with Kurama giving a slow clap. You're finally getting it. The souls you were to hunt down were never as payment for the souls of your dead parents. They are long gone. Those souls were for the army I was building. And now that I have enough, I can finally exact my revenge. Said Kurama. Return my parents to me this instant, you vile demon. Hissed Naruto. Dragon soul. And just like that, the white flames burst alive on Naruto's arm. Kurama merely shook his head as he flicked a finger. Naruto was shot so fast he collided with a concrete wall and was pushed through it. Blood flowed out his mouth as he hit the wall. Your parents are gone. Once a god has died, they can never be returned. Hissed Kurama. But I've wasted enough time as it is. See you around, kiddies. And just like that, Kurama left. Both Rias and Akeno raced to Naruto was already passed out. Bleeding from the mouth as a few ribs were also broken, the white flaming arm no more. Both got him up and took him to his house. As they walked, Rias looked to Naruto with amazement and shock. Who would have thought you were the son of a primordial dragon? She said. Yeah, who knew? Added Akeno as they walked to Naruto's house, seeing that it was closer. This was not looking good at all. Kurama had just proclaimed his war upon the underworld for destroying hell, including having the reason why a primordial dragon and a god were killed in one go, leaving behind their legacy. They had to begin preparing for anything that was heading their way. Azure blue eyes soon opened and Naruto found himself staring at an unfamiliar roof. The last thing he remembered was when Rias and Akeno showed up, followed by Rias talking to him about the origins of his flames. When Kurama showed up, his eyes soon widened when he realized what happened. He surged up to be sitting and found himself in a bed. Not only that, but he was shackled to the bed. Tugging a bit on the chain, he found it was imbued with powerful magics. Looking at his right hand, he found the Crimson Hunter's mark was removed. Right. Kurama took away my Crimson Hunter powers. Spoke the young man as he hung his head. What am I supposed to do now? First thing was first though. Get out of these chains. Hopefully he'd have a better understanding of where he was once he was out of these chains and not shackled to the bed. Good, you're awake. Came a voice. Turning to the door, Naruto found a woman with silver white hair that was tied up in a braid while wearing a maid uniform. Who are you? Asked Naruto, looking at her. My name is Grafia, queen and wife to Sasuke. I am to check on you. And once you've awakened, we shall begin your trial. Was all she stated to him. Wait. Trial? Asked Naruto, confused. But I didn't even do anything? You have. You were contracted to Kurama Yoko, aiding him in creating an army of demons, and even going to start a war, said Grafia rather coldly. I didn't know it was for a demon army. I thought it was for my parents. Shot back Naruto. All I can say is to give the whole truth, was all Grafia said as the chains on Naruto's wrist fizzled away. Rubbing his wrist as he was led through the halls of the rather impressive building, Naruto felt that something may end badly for him. But what Grafia said was true. He had to present his case to the ones who would judge him and just continue to profess his innocence in the matter. It was his only choice. Finally making it to their destination, Grafia opened the door with Naruto walking in. The door closed behind him as a few high-class devils sat before him. 3 in total. Naruto, you stand before us accused of aiding a demon and starting a war. How do you plead? Asked one of them. Not guilty. I only did it to allow my parents to move on and go to heaven, said Naruto. Regarding that matter, said another, it turns out you're the son of a primordial dragon, the very being believed to have breathed all things into existence. Birthed from him and your mother, Amaterasu, a flame spirit. Again, I say not guilty, was all Naruto said, touching on the matter at hand. How old are you? Asked the devil. Actual or relative? Asked Naruto. Actual, one said without hesitation. I've been around before any of you were even born. I've lost count, but I know I've seen over 2,000. Said Naruto, shocking them beyond imagine. You're 2,000 years old? You look the same age as Rias, said a devil with Naruto shrugging his shoulders. Again, I don't know how old I am. Or alive for that matter, said Naruto, but still, you aided a demon in starting a war. That makes you an accomplice. Naruto, you are hereby incarcerated for your crimes against the peace, said a devil. We're jumping to conclusions here, said a devil. He was doing it due to him believing it would allow his parents to rest in peace. He didn't know what he was doing. Finally, someone who listens, said Naruto. Naruto, seeing that you aided a demon in starting a war, you aid to be locked away. However, seeing that you are the son of a primordial dragon and the very goddess of light, Amaterasu, you may the only heavy hitter we have. Even though your powers have only awoken now, we believe you have the power to stop this entirely. That is why we want you to join Rias' peerage and aid her in her battles, said a devil. And what would happen if I don't want to? Barked Naruto. The choice is yours. Grafia shall be watching over you. Should you act out of line, she has been ordered to bring you back here. Meaning that you will spend your life behind bars, snapped a devil as they got up. It didn't take long until Naruto was inside a room known as the Occult Research Club, ORC for short. Spotting Kaneko, Kuroka's sister, sitting in the one couch along with Kiba and Akeno in another, while Rias was perched behind the desk. Hi, was all Naruto said before Akeno was at his face. Is it true that you are the son of the one who created everything? The primordial dragon? Not only that, but the son of the goddess of light, and the one who created the sun, Amaterasu? Asked Akeno. Is this an interrogation? Asked Naruto. You have many questions. I can see it. But all will be explained soon. As instructed by the devils, I am to make you my subordinate, said Rias, grabbing her pawns from a drawer in the desk. I don't think this is a good idea, barked Naruto, stepping back only for Rias to hold out the pieces. Trust me, I know what I'm doing, said Rias, smiling to him. Lay down. Sighing as he clicked his tongue, Naruto got onto the floor and lay on his back. Laying the pawns around him, Rias got ready. Seeing that your power is too strong for one pawn, I am forced to use all my pawns, said Rias as she began. But not even a split second into the ritual, a massive thunderbolt shot out from Naruto and sent Rias along with everyone shooting off in random directions from the blast. Slowly everyone got up. And to their astonishment, Naruto stood there, his eyes blazed red in flames as a shogi piece was floating before him. Specifically, the king piece of shogi. Their eyes widened as they watched the piece float into Naruto, with Naruto's power dying out with his eyes returning to normal. It is not possible, said Grafia. I know. But yet it is. A new game has just been made, said Rias, with everyone gathering around Naruto. New game? Asked Naruto, with Rias nodding her head. Devils have chess. Angels have cards. But you have made a brand new game. Shogi. The game of the gods, said Rias, with everyone gasping in shock at how a new game was just born. Who would have thought that a brand new game would begin from the son of a primordial dragon and a flame spirit? Shogi, the game of the spirits, was all Naruto said before looking to the Gremry peerage before him. What happens now? Asked Naruto. Now you grow your peerage, said Rias, smiling at how this was going to be fun. But as they spoke, a bag of shogi pieces appeared out of a literal crack within the air around Naruto. Finding a letter attached to it, Naruto read it while everyone read over his shoulder. What was written down was as follows: My son, if you are reading this, then you have uncovered your true power and heritage. From your mother and myself, we bestow on you our greatest achievement, a game of shogi, but is nothing like the conventional shogi. These pieces are what you'd call soul shards. Special shogi pieces imbued with the ability to turn someone into your piece. Remember, you are the one destined to achieve whatever you wish for. Closing the letter, Naruto went through the bag. Multiple pieces jingled in the bag. 19 in total. And he also remembered that in shogi you have 20 pieces including the king. And seeing that he was the king piece in shogi, he had to attain 19 more people to bear these pieces. Let's get to work, said Naruto as he smiled while he pocketed the bag. It had only been a few days since Naruto learned he was the one to bring about a new game. A few days since the devil had begun helping him acquire more pieces for his peerage. He had a few so far. A witch, who so happened to be the last witch in all existence, who went by the name Samui. He used a lance piece from his shogi pieces to turn her. A woman who was a full-blooded yokai by the name of Kajoro, a half-angel by the name of Kaguya, and a few others. He had 2 silver generals with one being used up. 2 gold generals. 2 knights with one being used up thanks to him using it on a woman by the name of Mei who was a half-devil. 2 lances, well now only 1 lance piece left. 1 rook which had been used. 1 bishop which had been used up as well, and 9 pawns with some of those also being used up. He had to use the stronger pieces wisely. But over the course of the few days he wondered. Seeing that he was the bringer of a new game, the game of the gods, he'd have to keep a piece aside for his girlfriend Kuroka. He set aside a gold general for her. Meaning he had 1 gold general left. He was currently giving chase along with Samui as they raced along the streets of Kyoto. A fallen angel before them as they zoomed across the quiet streets. Samui, block her path, ordered Naruto. By your orders, my lord, said Samui as she conjured a wall of fire, blocking the fallen angel. The fallen angel in question had jet black hair, a striking purple amethyst eyes. Her clothing looked to be something along the lines of S&M, which was something inappropriate for sensitive viewers. Along with her mark of a fallen angel, as 2 jet black feathered wings were seen on her back. Finally having her cornered, Naruto and Samui closed in on her, only for her to drop to her knees. Go on, kill me, hissed the fallen angel. I could do that. But then where's the fun? Chuckled Naruto. You are all the same, always killing my people like we're some blight on the world. Snarled the fallen angel. I don't even want that, said Naruto, making the woman arch an eyebrow. How about joining my peerage? Are you joking? She hissed. Not at all. Samui here, she is part of my peerage. Well, she's so far the only one of my peerage. Join me and I can guarantee you will be happy, said Naruto. How do I know that you won't go back on your word? She growled. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done so long ago, was all Naruto said. Rainier, she said. Huh, was all Naruto could say. My name is Rainier, she stated again. Very well. Rainier, please lay on your back, said Naruto. Doing as he requested, Rainier lay flat on her back as Samui cancelled out the flames. Placing a shogi piece on her, specifically, his last night piece, Naruto got ready. Instantly a white magic circle appeared beneath Rainier, and Naruto got the ritual underway. I am he who laughs at creation because I am creation. I am he who gives, yet takes. All will know. The whole world shall bear witness. I, Naruto, bestow the title of knight upon you, Rainier. Serve me and I shall lead you to glory, said Naruto. And just like that, the piece sunk into Rainier's skin with the Japanese shogi name for knight was emblazoned on her left breast with an outline of the piece. Rainier felt incredible power surging through her veins. It felt incredible, like nothing she had ever felt before. Slowly getting off the floor, she brought out her wings and found them to be dragon wings. They were a full-blown gunmetal gray that looked so beautiful, like nothing she'd ever seen before. Samui folded her arms and nodded her head. Welcome to the group, said Samui as Naruto nodded to Rainier. Indeed. Welcome, said Naruto, walking back and finally getting to his home, which was now a mansion thanks to the devils changing it. He enjoyed his old home, but this was a way better makeover. Opening the door, he found the others who were his pieces. Shizuka, Mei, Konan, Kijoro and Kaguya. He never saw them as such, but people he could count on, even if they were his subordinates. Welcome home, my lord, said Kijoro, sashaying over to Naruto and throwing her arms around him. How many times must I say it? Just call me by my name, said Naruto, getting out of Kijoro's hold. I sense a piece on her, said Kaguya, sniffing Rainier. Yes, I used up my other night piece, said Naruto. So she's just like me, said Mei, leaning over the couch. Correct. Now if you don't mind, I'm going to sleep, said Naruto, making his way to his room. It wasn't just his peerage that had grown the last few days. It was also his powers. He could use more and more of his powers every day. He could right now grow wings out his back and turn his skin to be as hard as steel in the form of dragon scales, thus naming the ability, Dragon Skin. Not only that, but ever since he learned that his mother was the very goddess of light and the sun, he realized that his flames from his father were now extremely powerful. His flames had literally exceeded what they could manage. An overload of some kind, if you're willing to call it that. He still needed to learn how to create things, but it was still a work in progress. Reaching his room and opening the door, he found 3 things. First was a baby dragon resting in a nest by the window, while a small phoenix sat perched on a stand. Ever since his powers grew stronger and stronger, these creatures showed up out of nowhere. But the third was someone who was family. His mother, Amaterasu, was standing by the phoenix. She was still in a ghostly body as she was still gathering her power through the sun. "Welcome home, my son," she said with a smile. "Hello, mother," said Naruto with a smile. Amaterasu's human name was Kushina. Even though she was killed that day thousands of years ago, she told her son that she wasn't entirely killed as the sun was her heart. And she had been using it to slowly grow back her body. She had been living on the surface of her sun. And only now did she show up due to Naruto's powers having awoken. She taught him how to harness his flame powers and how to also grow his powers of the dragon. She also was the one who brought these 2 creatures to him, stating both were his familiars. The phoenix from her, and the whelp from his father. "Got a new piece?" asked Amaterasu. "Sure did. A new knight," said Naruto with his mother smiling. "Good. Your peerage is growing strong. But you must stay focused. Kurama may mobilize at any moment," said Amaterasu with Naruto nodding as he threw off his shirt. The tattoo he had was now larger. His entire right arm was covered in the tribal lines and now covering half his back. Amaterasu was proud of her son that his powers were growing, but she was even more impressed. Due to him staying in his human body, his godly powers were restricted. But for some reason, his godly powers were now merging with his human body. Looking at the sun in the sky, he found it to be almost night. Smiling to his mother, he watched as she faded from existence. She'd be back, that was for sure. The entire night, Naruto couldn't sleep at all. His mind kept going back to Kuroka. It was over a week since he last heard from her, and it was killing him inside. He wanted to see her, he needed to. Getting out his bed and throwing a shirt on, he headed out his home, hoping a nice walk would do him some good. Walking through his neighborhood, he stopped and looked to the park on his right. He smiled to himself. It was the same park he first met Kuroka. How she was laying there, on that rainy night, in the mud holding her arm in pain from a slash. How he took her and nursed her back to health. How she kept visiting him and them just talking. Then the moment they gave into each other and became lovers. But they wouldn't admit it and stated they were boyfriend and girlfriend. But as he was about to take a step, he sensed a rather strange power coming from the park. Setting foot in the park, he was ambushed by a strange man with a staff. His beepy grin on display, and Naruto was annoyed already. "Oh, a trespasser," he said. "Thank you," barked Naruto. "Name's Biko." "How about a fight?" said the man as he spun his staff. "Bring it," said Naruto as his right arm burst into flames. The 2 clashed in the center, a small crater being made from the impact as the 2 glared at each other. The white flames licking against Biko's face as Naruto growled in annoyance. This guy's smile was making him extremely annoyed. The 2 broke apart with Naruto rearing back, his lungs expanding, taking in the air around him. "Dragon," he began through the intake of air. "Ruloar," he finished. And just like that, a torrent of white-hot flames flew at Biko. Seeing the flames approaching, Biko jumped out the way and landed in a tree. Seeing the wall at the end of the park be incinerated in an instant, Biko whistled his amazement. "That's super hot." "You trying to kill me?" asked Biko with Naruto creating flames in his hands. "That's the idea," retorted Naruto, thrusting his hands out. Biko dodged the incoming threat as Naruto kept throttling the flames at Biko, the intent on wanting to incinerate this guy now and go home becoming more and more apparent. But just as he was about to hit Biko, a woman he never thought would be here showed up. "Biko, where were you? Chaos Brigade has given us a new task," said a black-haired, hot-as-hell cat demon named Kuroka, the flames on Naruto's arms dying out to just small flames licking his arm. His mind frozen as he stared at his missing girlfriend. But then his mind restarted and he began to grind his teeth in rage. Oh, you know? Just having a small spar, Kuroka, said Biko, looking to Naruto with Kuroka snorting, her eyes still closed as she turned her head to Naruto. And who might the unlucky soul be to, trailed Kuroka when she opened her eyes to find her boyfriend standing there, his face of shock as she felt her own turn to match his own. Naruto? Asked Kuroka. Naruto didn't respond as he slowly turned away. You know each other? Stated Biko, looking between the two. No, hissed Naruto together with a snap. We don't. We never did. Kuroka felt the sting in his words, the venom lacing each word that came out his mouth. He was upset. No, he was pissed. She remembered from the time they slept together for the first time, they promised there would be no secrets between the two. Naruto brought all secrets to the table, but this was the one secret she didn't bring. The fact that she was working for Chaos Brigade. Naruto walked off for a few steps before bringing out his dragon wings and taking to the sky to fly back home, leaving Biko and Kuroka in the park. Kuroka kept her face as it was, but she was broken inside. This was the one thing that she felt that Naruto would hate her for. She may never get to show her face to him again. She had to mend this, fast. Kuroka sprinted in the direction she saw Naruto move through, her mind going over the many things he'd say. And they didn't sound good to her. Sure told Biko to get back, which gave her enough time to try and fix up this relationship she had with Naruto. A massive explosion of white fire stopped her in her tracks. Looking slightly to the left, she spotted a massive mushroom cloud of fire. No doubt, Naruto was down that way. Turning that way, she sprinted to him. But for Naruto, he was venting his anger. And he just so happened to find a rather large open area which was the perfect area for him to vent. How he was venting was beyond imagine. He was literally shouting at trees, which caused tree by tree to explode in a volley of white fire, the heat splashing over Kuroka. She could feel the anger within the heat. That and the strength of his fire. Stepping out, she made her way to her boyfriend. Why? Hissed Naruto, not even looking behind him. We agreed that there'd be no secrets between each other. And yet you went behind my back and kept this from me. You working with Chaos Brigade, I know. And I'm sorry for that. Said Kuroka, only be jump away when a stream of white hot fire was fired at her. You really think a sorry will fix this? Hissed Naruto as his right arm burst into flames with bits of fire licking against his face. You knew everything about me. Yet you hid this. So I'm feeling rather conflicted that you just think we'll be better when we get back to each other. And go on like this never happened. Kuroka was rather shocked actually. Was Naruto saying what she was thought? I'm sorry, Kuroka. But he started. Kuroka knew it. Here it came. The hammer that she dreaded. But then again, this was coming for a long time. She knew it ever since she kept this from him. We're gonna take a break, said Naruto, walking off. The open area was still and quiet, the crackling of the burning trees being the only sound heard. Kuroka stood there stunned. He said they were going to take a break. Thinking on it, she soon realized that what he said was that she'd be getting a new shot, and she had better not waste it this time. With that in mind, she left the scene to figure out how she was going to fix this mess. But for Naruto, as he walked home, he walked past the pub as a man was thrown out the door with a woman wearing only a bra and some pants on walked out and leaned against the doorframe. Her brown hair flowing down to her shoulders and her eyes were an amazing black-brown color. She stood there, a bottle of whiskey in the one hand. I told you. If you try anything with me, I will hurt you. She hissed. You should learn your place, bitch. Growled the man, only to have the whiskey bottle thrown at him. Shut up, puny fly. She barked as she walked off but spotted Naruto. What you looking at? I sense power from you. Are you perhaps a witch? Asked Naruto, only for the woman to grab some cards behind her and hold them as yellow energy flowed off them. What if I am? She shot back. I could use someone of your power in my peerage. What do you say? You'd have a home, a bed. Everything you want, said Naruto, his voice smooth and rich. You got booze? She asked. Plenty, was Naruto's only response. Then count me in, said the woman, holding out her hand for a shake. Name's Kana Alberona, Naruto. Son of the Dragon of Creation, replied Naruto. Yeah, right, and I am wife to the god of hell, chuckled Kana. If you're really a dragon's child, shouldn't you have wings and shit? Naruto merely smiled to her as he brought out his wings with parts of his skin turning to become scales. Kana was seriously taken back. So much that she took back her own words. I'm sorry, was all she could say. You want to join my peerage? Asked Naruto, holding up his shogi pieces. Kana merely nodded as Naruto told her to lie down. Going through the ritual much like he did with Rainier, Naruto gained a new piece. A pawn. With Kana now part of his peerage, he made his way back home, Kana in tow. Opening the door, he found Kijoro waiting for him. Looking to Kana, Kijoro smiled before looking back to her master. I see you've gained another hottie. Purred Kijoro. I did. And what of it? Asked Naruto. I'm not judging, said Kijoro with Naruto shrugging his shoulder and heading upstairs. Once he was in his bed, he closed his eyes and went to sleep. But he could get a good night's sleep. His mind was too hung up on what Kuroka did to him. So waiting for morning was a bit of a drag. When morning did come, Naruto got out of bed and made his way to the shower. Once he was done, he stepped out only to find Grafia standing in his room looking rather pissed. What you want? Barked Naruto. You have any idea what you did? Hissed Grafia. No. So why don't you tell me? Hissed Naruto in equal nature. You set fire to a conservation. A place of tranquility. You have any idea what that means? People will begin living in fear. It has been our job to protect them, said Grafia only for Naruto to laugh at her. Yes, it was your job. Not mine. I went along with your little plans because I was naive. I only awoke my powers and I thought maybe I could understand my powers more. But now that I have, I don't need you anymore. Growled Naruto. You can never go against the council. The devils will put you down. Snarled Grafia only for the room to become hot. White fire began to flow off Naruto as his temper was earing thin. His arm burst into flames as he glared at the devil before him. Listen. And listen well, bitch. I am the son of the one who created this world. Including your sorry ass. Not only that, but my mother is the goddess of light. You think you can take on a god? Snarled Naruto as he raised a hand to set Grafia alight. You're willing to start a war? We devils have done nothing wrong, said Grafia, slightly scared that Naruto may in fact be serious. Yes, you have, shouted Naruto. That night when I learned that I was being used by Kurama, not once did you want to hear my side. Sure, after a few back and forths. But you wanted to execute me on the spot. So don't you dare judge. What do you plan to do? Asked Grafia, sweating a bit from the heat. Grow my peerage. Travel the globe. Kill Kurama. Snapped Naruto as his flames died out with him whistling. The phoenix and whelp both got up, with the phoenix landing on Naruto's shoulder, while the whelp landed on the outstretched hand he had. Don't you dare follow, or I will kill you, snarled Naruto. The jet flew high above the clouds as it neared its destination. America. Naruto could be seen, staring pensively out the window as he wondered what he was going to do. Sure, he was going to grow his peerage. But the constant threat of Kurama remaking the world into how he envisioned it still weighed on his conscience. Sitting next to him was Kana, and next to her was Kijoro. Kana was enjoying some of the alcoholic beverages she smuggled onto the plane, and was doing her best to get wasted. Something didn't add up. This whole thing. This whole war. Hell was a place for the wicked. A place where demons ran amok. But there had to be something deeper than that to somehow have them go off the rails like that. Something. When the plane did land, Naruto and his peerage made their way to a hotel where they'd spend some time. Once Naruto's luggage was in his own room, he sat on the bed only for his room to be grayed out as a fissure of darkness appeared before him. Instantly his arm burst into flames and Naruto was ready to attack. Be still, young god. I am not your enemy, said the being. You're right. That's what they all say before they stab me in the back, hissed Naruto. I know of power when I see it. And I know what you are to do. But I feel that you should at least know what is going on, said the being. Fine. Speak, barked Naruto, letting the flames on his arm go out. Thank you, young god. I am the very first ruler of hell, Satan. And I have come to tell you of my greatest fault, said the being. What do you mean? Barked Naruto. Hell was once a world where the damned are punished for their crimes. A place where they are tortured to repent for their crimes they had committed. This was the norm for hundreds of years. Your father tasked me with this, and I was more than happy to do this task. But over the years, the demons of hell began to feel that they wanted more. The underworld was what they wanted. They came to me and demanded that I lead an army to the underworld and take it, thus turning the underworld into a new hell. I denied their request and sent them away. Many demons didn't take this well and decided to take matters into their own hands. They planned a coup d'etat. And they succeeded. I was dethroned and imprisoned for the crime of being a weak leader. The one who led the attack against me was the one who gave you your Crimson Hunter powers, Kurama Yoko. With him now on the throne, the demons became more vicious and set out to conquer the underworld. And so began the war. Thankfully, the devil of the underworld took them down and sealed away hell for what would be an eternity. Said Satan. So, this was all to do with Kurama? Said Naruto, raging a bit. Correct. But seeing that I can contact you like this means I've gained a small bit of my powers back. And so I will bestow on you that which you have lost. The Crimson Hunter powers you once had. Said Satan, holding out a hand with a crimson ball of fire appearing. Last I remembered. When I was a Crimson Hunter means I will be contracted to you. Said Naruto, with his flames erupting to life. This was your goal all along. To use me as a pawn for your own gain. Satan merely shook his head. Incorrect. This is the true power of the Crimson Hunter. This form will allow you to not be contracted to me. I will not be your master. Nor will I control you. I am merely giving you the tools needed to ensure a swift victory. Offered Satan. I am the son of two gods. What more can you offer me? Hissed Naruto arrogantly. Yes, you are a god yourself. But due to you still being in your human body, your power is still rather sealed up. Even though I can sense your celestial powers leaking out you, I am giving you the power to use more of your power, along with the power of a Crimson Hunter. Said Satan. You'd better not be funking with me. Hissed Naruto, taking the ball of fire and crushing it. This power flowed into Naruto's body, and he felt the familiar feeling of the power of hell flow into him once more. Once more the horns also grew out his head, but instead of the weapon he used to use as a Crimson Hunter, an old katana that was blue appeared in his hand. A mark grew on his left arm as well. From his shoulder to his hand, a black thick line grew, with the end having a trident on the end where his hand was. Satan merely smiled to Naruto as he slowly began to vanish from sight. Good luck, Naruto. Said Satan, finally leaving the room. Deactivating his newfound Crimson Hunter powers, Naruto went to the bathroom and ran some water. But as he did, he failed to notice the sliding door to the bathroom open and silent footsteps making their way to the shower where he currently was. Black hair flowed down her head as she slowly opened the door of the shower and stepped in. It was only when he felt a pair of slender arms wrap around him did he notice there was someone with him in the shower. Looking behind him, he found none other than Rainier. Her face flushed red as she gazed up at him with hunger in her eyes. Before he could even speak, Rainier crashed her lips against his own. Falling on top of him, Rainier breathed in the smell of their sex. She smiled as she fell off Naruto and snuggled into his left side while she traced circles on his chest. All the while, feeling his cum slosh around inside her. That was amazing, said Rainier as she looked up at Naruto and received a kiss from him. I agree, said Naruto as Rainier slowly fell asleep. Doing the same as he also closed his eyes, he joined Rainier in the land of dreams. But in their room, a portal opened up to reveal a black-haired, black cat-eared, hot-as-hell woman. Her black kimono pulled to the sides to reveal her cleavage even more, along with two black cat tails coming from her tailbone. Clearly slightly unhappy that Naruto was sleeping with this woman, she made her way to Naruto's side of the bed and to the bedside table. Reaching into her kimono, she pulled out a letter and placed it on the table before looking to Naruto. Giving his head a kiss, she trailed her fingers over his body. I will always love you. And that wasn't a lie, she whispered, and she left through opening another portal. Eyes slowly fluttered open to the new day that was presented to him. Finding himself naked as the day he was born and very much still in bed with one of his peerage, he stretched his tired limbs. Naruto, funny enough, felt great. Sure, he just had sex with a fallen angel that now had the power of a god. But it was nice to know that she loved him unconditionally. But as he got out of bed, he spotted a letter on the bedside table. Taking a hold of it, he opened the envelope and pulled out the letter. It was in Kuroka's handwriting. It read as such: Come alone to Central Park. I have something to tell you. Please come. I beg you, Kuroka. Using his godly power over fire, he burned the letter and got dressed. Kuroka clearly needed to say something to him. He was curious as to what she wanted to say, but a piece of him didn't even want to hear what she wanted to say. Opening the door, he headed out into the streets. His peerage could sleep in. He was a god. A pure-blooded god at that. Sure, he was half-creator, but if you boil it down, he was full-blooded god. His mind kept racing about what to do. He didn't want to even know Kuroka's story right now. How she betrayed their love when she kept a secret from him. A huge secret at that. That she was working for a group of people that were rotten to the core. But even if he was hating the way she wanted to see him, his mind kept racing back to what she wanted to talk about. What did she want to say? What was she going to say? Damn it. What was he going to even choose? But what he didn't know was that in his trance-like path, he walked straight into Central Park. His mind and heart raced at how he unconsciously walked here without him even realizing it. And just like that, the entire world around him darkened with everyone frozen in place. And out from a portal before him, Kuroka stepped out. She smiled to him and walked to him, intent on giving him a hug. Naruto backed away with his expression turning cold as he stared her down. What did you want to talk about? He hissed. I know that I'm the last person you wish to see right now. And I don't blame you for thinking that, seeing I did stab you in the back by keeping a secret from you. But please listen to what I have to say, begged Kuroka with her boyfriend folding his arms. You have 1 minute, hissed Naruto looking to Kuroka. Before I met you, nearly my entire race was purged. A single night. We were slaughtered. The only survivors was that of myself and my sister. I wandered around aimlessly before a devil picked me up. He said he found me appealing to his eyes. At first I was happy that someone wanted to look after me. But then he began to make unwanted advances on me. I rebelled and killed him. I was thus hunted and soon was cornered. But a group of people saved me, calling themselves Chaos Brigade. They said that seeing they saved me means I am indebted to them. They placed a new evil piece inside me and thus began my new life as a terrorist to the supernatural, said Kuroka with Naruto staring at her unfazed. 30 seconds. He growled. I served them with everything I had. But when I saw you and met you, it felt like I could finally give it all up to be with you, stated Kuroka with Naruto's power flowing off him. Then why didn't you? Growled Naruto. They blackmailed me. They said that if I ever left them, they'd kill my sister. And when we became lovers, I felt like I could be happy with you. But I was afraid. Should you have ever found out that I was working for terrorists, I feared you'd leave me, said Kuroka with her image breaking as tears slowly dropped from her eyes. I even left them. I left Chaos Brigade to be with you again. Should I ever be found by them, I will be killed on sight. If you had told me before, then I would have done something to help. But now we're in this mess, said Naruto with venom lacing his words before calming down. But I understand your motives. If the roles were reversed and I was in your position, I would have done the same. And Naruto soon lowered his head as he coughed into his hand, clearing his throat. I'm sorry for being so brash in what I said before. Kuroka, I still love you. And I will always love you. Kuroka's head shot up to meet with Naruto's own, tears cascading down her cheeks as she brought a hand up to her mouth as she repeated what Naruto said in her mind. Does that mean you accept me back? She asked, seeing Naruto nod. It does. But please, no more secrets. Or is that the last one? Asked Naruto with Kuroka nodding her head. That was the only secret I kept from you, she said before she saw Naruto open his arms and beckon her to hug him. And hug him she did. She fell into his embrace and cried her eyes out as she held the man she loved all this time. She felt safe within his arms. Rubbing her face against his chest, she soon felt Naruto's hands rub her cat ears and back. She soon purred at his feeling before her tears went from sadness to become dry with her lust taking over. Falling onto Naruto's chest, Kuroka gasped and panted as she felt all the cum Naruto deposited into her slosh about inside her. Looking into his eyes, she gave him a kiss. You may have gotten me pregnant, she purred. You wanted that? Chimed Naruto, only for Kuroka to sit up on him and rub her stomach. I wouldn't mind having your child, she moaned as she soon got off him and got her clothes on while Naruto used his fire power to create some new clothes. But as they savored their time together, Biko came into the picture and glared at Kuroka. "Traitor!" snarled the monkey. "It is time for you to die. Orders from Chaos Brigade." And just like that, Biko charged with the intent on killing Kuroka, only to stop when Naruto fired several balls of fire at him. He stood there dumbfounded as Naruto's one arm was on fire while the other held Kuroka close to him, his hands caressing her waist and one ass cheek making her blush from his touch. "Leave now, or I'll burn you to cinders and dump your ashes into the closest ashtray," threatened Naruto. "You don't know what you're getting yourself into," hissed Biko before leaving via portal. Looking to Kuroka, Naruto had an idea. "You have nowhere to go now, do you?" stated Naruto with Kuroka nodding her head. "Then I shall make you part my peerage and remove those two evil pieces in you," he said lovingly. "You can do that?" asked Kuroka full of hope. "I am a god after all," stated Naruto with Kuroka going wide-eyed. "You're a god," she said in shock before beginning to pace. "I just had sex with a god. I gave my first time to a god as well. And I may even be carrying the child of a god." Naruto merely grabbed her shoulders and pulled her into a hug. "I don't care what you think. I love you no matter what." "So, you want those pieces out of you or what?" asked Naruto with Kuroka nodding her head very fast like. "I want to have these vile things out of me," said Kuroka. "Then please lay down," said Naruto. Kuroka did as instructed and watched as Naruto's one hand glow a fierce white. She soon watched as the hand entered her chest and pull out something. Two bishop chess pieces came out her body and she felt the tyrannical rule of the Chaos Brigade leave her for good. "I shall now make you as my own piece," said Naruto reaching into his pocket and pulling out a gold general's shogi piece. Laying the shogi piece onto Kuroka's chest, Naruto began the incantation. "I am he who laughs at creation because I am creation. I am he who gives, yet takes. All will know. The whole world shall bear witness. I, Naruto, bestow the title of Gold General upon you, Kuroka. Serve me and I shall lead you to glory," chanted Naruto, and the piece sunk into Kuroka's chest. Much like how the others in Naruto's peerage felt the amazing power, so did Kuroka. It was absolutely incredible. The power of the gods flowing into her body as she felt like nothing could take her down. Getting up with her, checking her wings, she found them to be dragon wings. Putting the wings back into her body, she smiled and looked to Naruto. Giving him a passionate kiss, she thanked him for it as time returned to normal. Kuroka, of course, under a disguise, and the two walking back to the hotel Naruto was staying at. Arriving there, he was awarded with his entire peerage standing there. Kana soon came forward and asked, "So, who is this?" she said looking at Kuroka. "Everyone, meet my new piece, Kuroka. A Nico-type demon who has become my first gold general," said Naruto with Kuroka bowing to them. "Nice to meet you. I hope we can work well together," chimed Kuroka with everyone sighing before agreeing with this turn of events. A cool morning brewed over the city as two very naked people were seen in the room that Naruto was renting. One was Naruto himself, the other was his first lover, Kuroka. Both were in each other's embrace, sleeping soundly as they stayed together like they were. Waking up first, Kuroka looked to find herself in Naruto's arms. His strong and powerful arms wrapped tightly around her waist as he held her close. Still feeling herself connected to him, and the feeling of his warm essence inside her womb was a pleasant feeling as well. Yesterday, when she learned that her boyfriend was a god, she was rather blown back by that. But when she began to process it all, she didn't mind. Not one bit. She fell in love with Naruto even before he came out and said he was a god. She'd gladly bear his child. And many more should he ever wish that. But her fantasy of having a family with the man she loved came an end when the sounds of a commotion was heard from the streets. Thinking it was just some random celebrity, Kuroka turned back to go to sleep with the man she loved. But soon, the baby phoenix and dragon began to become restless. The dragon and phoenix soon took to the air within the room and began making a noise as they flew above Kuroka and Naruto. "Sure, you'll wake him," whispered Kuroka, trying to calm them down. But nothing seemed to work. They soon began to cry louder. "Shh. Please be quiet," begged Kuroka, only to have the phoenix catch fire as it shrieked even louder, with the dragon too catching fire, but this was blue fire. Before Kuroka could attempt to shush them a third time, the side of the room was blown clean off as the demon stood where the hole was, a weapon in its hands as it looked to the scene before it. A man sleeping in bed, two baby mythical creatures flying around them in the air, and a very naked and beautiful cat demon girl. Hee hee, don't worry, hot stuff. I'll take care of you, sneered the demon as it slowly approached Kuroka. Lewd intentions leaking off its body as he eyed her up and down. Get away from me, barked Kuroka, launching some magic at the demon which did nothing. I'm gonna enjoy taming you. Far better than your boy toy, chuckled the demon as it reached for Kuroka, only for its arm to spontaneously combust in white fire. Both looked at the burning arm as it crackled and hissed from the heat. It was only when the arm fell off did the demon act. A pained cry pierced the room as it dropped to the floor, clutching its arm in pain. Turning to Naruto, Kuroka found his hand stretched out with his fingers in a finished snap. Rule 1. Never touch Kuroka. She is, after all, my most treasured woman, growled Naruto, getting out the bed, still very much naked as the tattoos he had glowed with his arm bursting into flames. Looking to Kuroka, who was trying to shield her nakedness, Naruto looked back at the demon and summoned a fireball. White-hot flames ignited within Naruto's open palm, heating the air up fast as Naruto gazed upon the demon with cold hatred. Enjoy dying, said Naruto as he tossed the fireball at the demon, incinerating it instantly. Turning to Kuroka, Naruto gave her a hug of reassurance and got dressed along with Kuroka. With them now dressed, they headed out the room and found Naruto's peerage already engaged in combat. A few scorched and ice littered the lobby of the hotel as they fought off against the demons before them. It was Rainier who spotted their master and finished off the demon she was facing, her one wing showing her dragon lineage while the other showed her birth lineage, fallen angel. She bowed before Naruto as the demon was incinerated before it could surprise Rainier with an attack. Hail, my lord, she said with submission. I see things have gotten out hand fast, stated Naruto, looking to the people fighting. It happened so fast. Samui and I were just busy walking through the streets when out of nowhere, a portal opened. Demons came pouring out as soon as it opened, stated Rainier. Well, it looks like we're winning, said Kuroka, seeing how easy they were dispatching the demons. We're not even close, said Naruto, clenching his hands into fists. Without a Crimson Hunter, they will just come back. A Crimson Hunter has the power to make sure they stay dead. Aren't you one? Asked Kuroka, turning to her boyfriend and looking at his other tattoo. I may be one, but this power is more different. I need to get control over it, said Naruto, looking at his arm which held the tattoo. Incoming, cried Kana, pointing to the sky. Everyone looked up to the skyline and found a massive white fireball heading straight for them. Get down, ordered Naruto. Instantly his whole peerage dropped to the ground and also brought up barriers to protect them. When the fireball hit the lobby floor, a massive flaming shockwave was set off as the demons were burned to nothing. But from the fireball stood a man in very regal clothing. His blonde hair was ablaze with yellow fire, as his eyes shone with blue fire. Looking at the devastation he did, he cleared his throat. Naruto? Where are you, my son? He called. Getting up, Naruto looked to the man, instantly looked as if he saw a ghost. Father? Asked Naruto, walking to the man. Turning around, the man smiled to his son and hugged him. Oh, Naruto, you have no idea how happy I am to see you, said the man as Naruto hugged him back as a tear flowed down his face. How? Mother said you were still busy trying to get your body back, stated Naruto, with Minato shrugging his shoulders. It would have taken another 10 years to get my body back to what it was. But when Kurama decided to mobilize, I knew I had to speed up the process. At the moment, I have my base off and the third level of my powers, said Minato, making a flame burst to life in his hands. Who is this? Asked Mei, looking at the man. Forgive me. My name is Minato. You may also know me as the Dragon of Creation, said Minato, with everyone stepping back. You're kidding. We're dating and have been sleeping with the son of the Dragon of Creation? Stammered Samui, looking shocked. I did tell you that I am the son of the goddess of the sun and the Dragon of Creation, said Naruto. We can discuss this later. Right now, Naruto, you need to go to your mother. She's currently speaking with the Devil Council, trying to get them to mobilize their forces, stated Minato more sternly as he opened a portal that connected to where Kushina was. Let's go, said Naruto, running into the portal with his peerage following him. The portal soon closed as the demons that were incinerated reformed and got ready to attack. Minato just clicked his knuckles as he coughed into the air with a stream of white fire shooting out his mouth. Sure, this world can't handle my true form, but let's see if you can stand against level 3 fire, said Minato as he went to work on the demons. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.